Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you all for being here this morning. I'm Cook County Commissioner Donna Miller, and I am proud to be here today to celebrate American Heart Month. I'd like to thank President Preckwinkle, who has joined us as well, Dr. Jane, and another woman who will be here from Women in Medicine, who are doing great things out in the community, as well as Terry Campbell from Illinois Heart Rescue, and my colleagues who joined us here today, who from the county board, Commissioner Britton, Commissioner Stamps, Commissioner Anaya, and Commissioner Trevor. Thanks for all being here. And we're all here today because we are focused on heart health. As many of you know, I have been actively involved in promoting life-saving training sessions aimed at improving health outcomes related to cardiovascular disease for years. And today's session focuses on the critical importance of CPR and AED training in saving lives during cardiac events. Heart disease continues to be the leading cause of death in the United States, affecting individuals across all racial and ethnic backgrounds. In Cook County alone, it accounted for 10,270 deaths in 2022, with 5,018 of those deaths occurring in Chicago and 5,252 of those in suburban areas. So the disparity is the same, and it's still great across the suburbs and the city. I've made it a priority to address this issue by including the introduction of CPR and AED training and education initiatives. In 2019, my first piece of legislation as a commissioner launched a countywide hands-only CPR and AED awareness training and campaign for employees. The pandemic in 2021 led to further legislation to create a virtual campaign for training. We're now in our 6th year of this program, and it's benefited hundreds of officials in the county as well as county employees. This initiative was prompted by the fact that a majority of cardiac arrests occur outside of hospital settings. About 4 out of 5 cardiac arrests happen at home. Statistically speaking, if called on to administer CPR during an emergency, the life you save is likely to be that of someone at home, a child, a spouse, a parent, or a friend. So someone you know very close. Another alarming statistic related to the bystander effect, which we've talked about for such a long time, it highlights the significant disparity in CPR assistance among different demographics. Studies show that African Americans and Hispanics are 30 to 50% less likely to receive CPR when needed. Also, gender plays a role in these critical moments. Women are less likely to receive bystander CPR than men, often due to fears of inappropriate touching or other concerns. In public settings, only 39% of women receive CPR from bystanders, compared to 45% of men. The reluctance to provide help can have serious consequences, as men have a 23% higher chance of surviving a cardiac event than a woman. It's important to remember that during a cardiac arrest, every second counts. Emergency personnel may take valuable minutes to arrive on the scene, making immediate help from bystanders crucial. We are the bystanders. So let's work together to create a safer environment where everyone, regardless of gender, can receive the life-saving assistance they deserve. Every minute that a person in sudden cardiac arrest does not receive the defibrillation, that's the AED, their chances of survival drop by 7 to 10%. Data shows that CPR and AED initiated by a bystander can nearly double or triple the chance of survival for a cardiac arrest. That is why increasing awareness and education in CPR training and AED training is so vital. Any improvement in outcomes associated with heart attacks would have immeasurable impact on survivors and their families. So since February is Heart Month, nationwide, I'm sponsoring a resolution declaring February Heart Month and Go Red Day in Cook County at Thursday's board meeting, as I've done each year since taking office. At Cook County, we're committed to improving health outcomes and saving lives through our collective efforts to create a safer environment for everyone in Cook County. So I want to thank you all for your attention to this important matter. Next, I'd like to hand this over to President Toni Preckwinkle, and I'd like to thank her for her steadfast support of this initiative over the years. Madam President.
Thank you, Commissioner Miller, and good morning, everybody. Good morning. We've been joined by Commissioner Bill Lowry, who is chair of the Health Committee, along with Commissioner Anaya, who's vice chair, and Commissioner McCaskill has joined us as well. We're grateful for all of the commissioners who have joined us today, and especially to Commissioner Miller for raising this important issue. I'm glad to be here to highlight the simple yet powerful skill that can save lives, CPR. Cardiac arrest can happen to anyone, anywhere, at any time, and when it does, every second matters. Immediate CPR can double or even triple a person's chances for survival. And yet, too often, in our Black and brown communities, bystander CPR is not administered, and the consequences are tragic. We know that heart disease disproportionately impacts communities of color. Higher rates of high blood pressure, diabetes, and limited access to health care put many at a greater risk. But this isn't just about prevention. It's about ensuring that when emergencies strike, our communities are equipped to respond. At Cook County, we're committed to closing these gaps. Cook County Health is open to all, regardless of income, immigration status, or ability to pay. We offer critical heart health services, screenings, and education to make sure every resident has access to the care they need. But access to health care is only part of the solution. Education and action are important as well. When we empower our communities with knowledge, we can save lives. And when we fight for equitable health care, we can strengthen families. And when we work together, we can build a healthier, safer Cook County for all. Thank you very much, and I'd like to introduce next Commissioner Anaya.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Alma Anaya. I'm a Cook County Commissioner of the 7th District, a majority Latino, majority immigrant district here in Cook County, and I also serve as the Vice Chair of Health and Hospitals. I'm going to make most of my remarks in Spanish, but I just want to publicly thank Commissioner Donna Miller for her effort around this issue. As it's been stated, it's one of the most important things that we can really take on as a level of government, but most importantly, given the fact that we are a safety net for healthcare. So I want to just thank her for every year bringing us back and really centering us on our mission to ensuring that we prevent any of these incidents for the long run, but we're prepared here locally here in Cook County. Buenos días a todos. Es un placer hoy día acompañar a la comisionada Donna Miller y a mis colegas en este inicio del mes del corazón. Yo represento el 7º distrito del condado de Cook. Estas comunidades incluyen La Villita, Brighton Park, Pilsen y muchas de las comunidades del suroeste de la ciudad de Chicago. Según la Asociación de los Estados Unidos del Corazón, alrededor de 30% de los latinos tienen presión alta y muchos sufren de condiciones del corazón que no son tratadas durante muchos años. Sabemos que las enfermedades cardiovasculares son una de las principales causas de las muertes entre los hispanos y los latinos. En los Estados Unidos son la segunda causa de muerte para los hispanos después del cáncer. Voy a repetir eso de nuevo. Estas enfermedades cardiovasculares son la segunda causa de muerte para los hispanos. Algunos de los factores que son riesgos para estas cosas que en muchas ocasiones igual son mortales, son cosas como la obesidad, diabetes y inactividad física. Nuestras comunidades necesitamos saber esta información porque puede salvar muchas vidas. Sabemos que nuestra comunidad debe en este momento tener y aprender cómo reducir los riesgos y cuáles son los síntomas. Pero hoy lo más importante es que estamos aprendiendo sobre las tácticas y las cosas que se deben de hacer cuando hay esto en nuestras casas. Se dice que 4 de las 5 veces que ocurre un incidente como un ataque al corazón ocurre en nuestras casas. Entonces debemos, como personas que tenemos familiares, amigos, ¿verdad? Vecinos, tener esa información muy importante para salvar estas vidas. Y por eso estoy hoy aquí apoyando esta iniciativa y creando esta alerta a la comunidad para que en este momento nos pongamos a aprender. Yo sé que hoy todo el día va a haber entrenamientos aquí, pero los invito a los que nos están viendo en casa de aprender un poco sobre estos riesgos y cómo prevenir a las muertes. De nuevo quiero agradecer a la comisionada Donna Miller. And now I would like to ask Commissioner Stamps to come up and share a few words.
Good morning. I'd like to thank Commissioner Miller again for this important resolution and bringing attention to this. And when I was asked would I like to share a couple of words, I just want to say, what came to me, and I shared this before, that my mom, the late Marion Stamps, passed away at home. There was no one there but my very young daughter at the time and my niece from congestive heart failure. Since then, I've lost my very best childhood friend who passed away at work due to a heart condition. She had a heart attack at work in a cubicle. No one knew, no one saw her. I can only imagine if her job and her work community had the same sense of awareness to just check in and check on each other, and more than that, be prepared to help save a life. Might she even be here now? And so I thank Donna Miller, because I think this is just the season that we're in, all in our country, in many ways that we can be, is to just be prepared. And so please do take advantage of the opportunity that's been extended today. Please do remember that stress, emotional stress, is it worsens the heart, and it brings on heart conditions. And I know that in this country, many black women who have some of the highest statistics for heart disease are buckling under the weight of all that we carry. And so I just want to take this moment to make sure that in this season we practice radical safe care, that we stay prepared, that we check in and check on each other, and that we make sure that we are well. So thank you again, Donna Miller, for this resolution that I hope to save lives.
Next, we'd like to hear from the chair of the Health and Hospital Committee, Commissioner Lowry.
Thank you, Commissioner Miller. I am Bill Lowry. I serve as Cook County Commissioner of the 3rd District. I also serve as chair of the Cook County Health and Hospitals Committee and serve as vice chair of the Cook County Health Board of Directors. It is great to be here with all of you as we celebrate February as Heart Month. We all have the power to protect ourselves against heart disease. The awareness of heart health cannot be overstated, and I thank my dear friend and colleague, Commissioner Donna Miller, for bringing us together once again today as we recognize the importance of heart health. It is Commissioner Miller who has been our heart health conscience on the Cook County Board through her provision of CPR training which she engages in, not just in her district, but in other districts as well. And I look forward to partnering with you, Commissioner Miller, in the 3rd District later this month. With 500,000 cardiac arrests each year, CPR increases the likelihood of surviving cardiac arrest. When the heart stops beating, it is important that we are equipped with the knowledge to do what is necessary. CPR is not just a must-do for healthcare workers and emergency responders. It's a must-do for each of us. As we go forward, and throughout this month, but beyond every month, it is important that we continue to talk about the importance of heart health to our family and to our friends. And as I point one finger to each of you, I point 3 to me. Let us all commit this year to more exercise. Let us commit to eating better. Let us commit to getting more rest. And let us commit to heart health. So once again to Commissioner Miller, thank you again for being our conscience, and I look forward to working with you relative to my own training. You know, if you think you know CPR, you probably don't. When I was first taught CPR, the dummy was named Annie and you blew in the mouth. So we must make sure that we are all up to date with the current CPR strategies and the way to perform proper CPR. So now, it is my question to bring up Commissioner Keisha McCaskill.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Commissioner Miller. What a wonderful and much needed resolution in the Black community. We want to make sure that we keep safe health first, that we're always checking, whether it be blood pressure, something as minor as a headache that we tend to overlook and think that it's just something we can sleep off. We need to make sure that we are being very vigilant in our efforts to advocate for ourselves. We want to make sure that we are doing those things necessary to make sure not only that our heart health is correct, but our mental health and our emotional health are also in check. All of these things need to align in order for us to be a better person and better communities. So with that, thank you, and I'll turn it back over to Commissioner Miller.
Thank you. So next we'd like to welcome Dr. Shika Jain. She's the founder of Women in Medicine. Dr. Shika Jain.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It is my absolute honor to be standing here with you today, and I want to also give a heartfelt thank you to Commissioner Miller for leading in this incredibly important effort. Your leadership and dedication to addressing disparities in care and expanding access to life-saving resources like CPR and AED training will truly save lives. As a physician, I see firsthand the impact that cardiovascular disease has on our patients, our families, and our communities. Heart disease remains the leading cause of death in the United States, and it does not affect all populations equally. Women, particularly women of color, continue to be underdiagnosed, undertreated, and often dismissed when they present with symptoms. Black women are nearly twice as likely to die from heart disease as white women, and Hispanic women are more likely to develop heart disease a decade earlier than non-Hispanic white women. These disparities are exacerbated by systemic inequities in healthcare access, socioeconomic factors, and implicit biases in medical treatment. Too often, symptoms in women, especially women of color, are mistaken for stress, anxiety, or other less serious conditions, leading to delays in treatment that can result in death. Women were not included in many of the early cardiovascular disease clinical trials, which means many of the stereotypical symptoms we think of, elephant on the chest, pain in the left arm, are not symptoms that many women present with, meaning women show up at the ER and they are told, go home, you're having a panic attack. And then they go home and they die. And that is not okay. So we need to not only educate, we also need to talk about this bystander effect and how we can help prevent these types of deaths, and also how we can help teach people that CPR and AEDs are life-saving. Raising awareness is not just about education, it's about saving lives. When we empower individuals with knowledge, we give them the ability to advocate for their own health and the health of their loved ones. We need to ensure that women know the signs of heart disease, which can differ from those commonly recognized in men. Symptoms such as shortness of breath, even nausea, a feeling of impending doom, jaw pain, and extreme fatigue should never be ignored. But awareness alone is not enough. We must equip our communities with the tools to act in a crisis. Sudden cardiac arrest can happen to anyone, anywhere, at any time. Immediate CPR and the use of an AED can double or even triple the chance of survival. Yet too many people lack access to these life-saving skills or fear stepping in because they don't feel prepared. This has to change. By increasing CPR and AED training, expanding access to these devices in public spaces, and ensuring that more individuals, especially in under-resourced communities, are equipped to act in an emergency, we can turn bystanders into lifesavers. I applaud Commissioner Miller's commitment to making Cook County a leader in this fight. Together, we can change the narrative on heart disease, improve access to care, and ensure that no one's life is lost simply because the right help wasn't available at the right time. I have 3 children. They are aged 10, 7, and 7, and I'm proud to say that they came home and were showing me their CPR techniques because their school was teaching them how to do CPR. Now, they need a little work on their techniques, but you can even start teaching your children because they may not be able to do the CPR, but they know how to get help. They should know how to call 911. You can also start helping your children identify where are the AEDs in the room. When you go to the airport, when you go to any public facility, there are often AEDs, so being able to identify it, your children can actually be your best helpers because they are much more observant than we are in many situations. So with that, I want to hand this over to Dr. Hala Akbarnia because together we can take action, and she is someone who has taken a lot of action in this space. She is an emergency medicine physician and a very dedicated member of our nonprofit, Women in Medicine. As an ER physician, she has firsthand experience treating cardiac emergencies and understands the truly critical importance of rapid response and preparedness. Dr. Akbarnia.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sheka. Thank you, everybody else, for having us here today. This is a very important space for us to be in. My name is Dr. Hala Akbarnia. I'm an emergency medicine physician at Advocate Lutheran General Hospital. I also have a master's degree in public health through UIC with a specific interest in community health. Given the statistics that you've already heard, heart health and cardiac emergencies are a huge part of my job, and education surrounding this health issue is very important to me. One case from my early training has always stayed with me. During my emergency medicine residency training in Richmond, Virginia, our hospital handled nearly all major cardiac cases, and our department chair pioneered AED placement in the community and EMS systems. On one shift, a 35-year-old man collapsed in the gym nearby. A bystander knew what to do and immediately started CPR. EMS arrived within minutes. CPR continued into the ER, and we quickly got him into the cath lab for life-saving intervention. 3 days later, he left the hospital, talking, fully intact. You wouldn't even have known what he had just gone through. Fast forward 10 years, that same chairman suffered a cardiac arrest and was saved by the very system he built. Thanks to CPR and an AED, he continued leading our department for years before retiring. It's a full circle moment that proves why this work matters. We've also seen this life-saving action on a national stage. Damar Hamlin, Omar Carter, Bronny James, they were all saved by immediate CPR and AED use as they fell in their respective fields of play. Even high school athletes like a JV player in Rochester who collapsed mid-game survived because someone knew what to do. But survival shouldn't come down to luck. Cardiac arrest is deeply tied to social determinants of health, access to health care, nutritious food, and safe spaces for exercise. Black and brown communities face higher rates of hypertension, heart disease, yet are 30 to 50% less likely to receive bystander CPR. Immediate CPR can double or triple survival rates, but fewer than 40% of people receive it outside a hospital. That's why local training is essential, and efforts in Cook County have already saved many lives. We must continue to be creative in expanding CPR training, not just through classes, but by showing up at block parties, workplaces, schools, community fairs, places of worship to meet people where they are. Illinois has taken major steps by requiring high school students to be trained in CPR and AED use before graduation, ensuring that our next generation is ready to save lives. Another example of how young people are saving us all. That's also why I became a CPR and AED educator myself. We need more trained individuals, more AEDs in public spaces, and continue to support policies that ensure access, especially in our most vulnerable communities. Seeing the work being done right here is inspiring. I urge everyone to learn CPR, know where the nearest AED is, and be ready to act. You never know when you'll be the one to help someone survive. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was great. And so next, I just want to introduce Terry Campbell from Illinois Heart Rescue, who has been doing our AED and CPR training here at the county for many years and does it out in the community. So Terry.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Miller, and thank you, everybody else. So much great information. I'm going to make this short and sweet. So we've heard many times that bystander CPR can double to triple survival. We've heard about the tremendous disparity that we have, not only with our brown and our black people, but with women. And we've heard all of those reasons why. I am very committed to tell you that the reason that some neighborhoods and some populations have lack of CPR is not because of apathy. It's not because they don't care. It's because there's a knowledge gap. And there can also be barriers. Maybe people don't have 2 hours to go have a formal CPR training. I've got great news for you. Illinois Heart Rescue, little plug, IllinoisHeartRescue.com, we can teach you how to save a life literally in 5 minutes. We teach you the important steps that are easy to have muscle memory when you're in a panic because it is your loved one that's on the kitchen floor in front of you. We're going to teach you to recognize a problem, call 911, hop on the chest, and keep doing compressions until 911 providers arrive. We're also going to teach you how to use an AED. So I love all the unwitting compliments that Illinois Heart Rescue got. When we started our nonprofit in 2012, Illinois was the laughing stock of resuscitation in the United States. Now we exceed national averages in almost every metrics, including bystander CPR. We did this by concentrating on neighborhoods that had the highest incidence of cardiac arrest with the lowest incidence of bystander CPR. Illinois Heart Rescue was pivotal in passing that legislation requiring CPR education in schools. So I'd like to just take a quick minute and give a great demonstration on how easy it is to save a life. Maya? Okay, so first thing we need to do is we need to recognize that there is a problem. Cardiac arrest is not always as dramatic as it is on TV, right? So if somebody is non-responsive, meaning you touch them, you shake them, you talk to them, and they're not responding to their name, and they're not breathing, that you'll be able to tell because they turn blue pretty quick, or they're not breathing normally. They kind of look like they're a fish out of water, kind of gasping or kind of moaning respirations. Those aren't normal. So if somebody is not responding normally and they're not breathing normally, call 911. It is a cardiac arrest until proven otherwise. And if you're wrong, you get to meet some of our city's finest. No problem, okay? So the next thing you want to do is you want to kneel next to the victim. If they are on a chair or on a bed, you want to drag them to the floor. Do not worry about hurting them. Your arms are going to be stretched out in front of you, elbows locked. On TV, they do CPR like this. That's not how nurses do CPR. Elbows are out straight. Hands are locked. The heel of the hand is going to go right on the center of the chest, right between the boobs. I hope I'm allowed to say that word. Okay? Then, Russ, all right. Your shoulders, as a nurse, I should do that, right? Your shoulders are going to be over your hands because you want the weight of your body to help compress. As you're compressing down, your goal is to push them in half. You're pushing hard, but you're also coming completely off the chest. We're doing it to a rate of 100 to 120 times per minute. Who can remember that? Use the song Baby Shark. Use the song Staying Alive. Lots of great songs that are out there. You're going to continue doing this until either you fatigue and you can have somebody else kneel down and do it with you, or until 911 providers come. Okay, Maya is going to be doing it. I'm going to clap the beat. Okay, ready? Here we go. Bump, 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 staying alive. I like you, so I'm going to stop singing. Okay, so Maya is going to continue doing that. So it's important. You're pushing down hard. You're coming up. Maya, you can stop. That's great. So couple things. You cannot seriously hurt somebody by doing CPR, even if they don't need it. What if you do CPR on somebody that's having a diabetic emergency and their heart's actually beating? It doesn't matter. You cannot seriously hurt that underlying heart rhythm. So the two barriers that we have are lack of education, that Illinois Heart Rescue is trying really hard to close that gap. And the second one is the concern that people have, I'm going to do it wrong, I'm going to make it worse. Friends, as a nurse, as other healthcare professionals, I promise you, you cannot make dead worse. You can only make it better. When you call 911, Illinois Heart Rescue has worked very hard with 911 call centers across the state. If you call and you tell them that your auntie is unconscious on the floor, the 911 call takers are going to ask you a few questions, and they're going to coach you, and they're going to cheer you through doing CPR. So thank you very much. We're excited to empower you, and come learn how to save a life in 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all for being here today. I want to thank Madam President, my colleagues, the experts who are here with us today, and all of you for paying attention to this very important initiative.